Hello, my name is CJ and welcome to my YouTube channel. So first of all, this is Olivia, my lovely girlfriend that I've mentioned in almost every one of my videos.
Hi!
We got some questions regarding like the BPD video that I made and asking how, we've stayed in this relationship for just under a year and a half because there's a lot of stigma around BPD as I talked about, and that like they are incapable of being in relationships and incapable of having like good relationships. And one of the top BPD Google searches is, can someone with BPD love? So we decided to come do this video together and kind of talk about some of the obstacles and some of the ways that like we got around them, because yes, like it is harder for me to be in a relationship, but it's also harder for me to be in a friendship or have a job, or like it's really anything. So some of the things that like we've done to hopefully help some of you guys who are in relationships or have BPD or love someone with BPD, and kind of both of those things. One of the best things that we found that really help when I'm struggling is reassurance. Every relationship like needs reassurance, but it is like especially important in ours.
I wouldn't call it an issue though. I would just say to like make sure our relationship is, I don't know, healthy, going good.
For both of us. Like, especially important for me, but it's also important for you. Which is, I think, really important to note that it's important for both of us, someone with BPD and someone without. And reassurance is like just as important to both of us. What are your tips on like giving me reassurance?
It's a lot all the time, but it's not overbearing. It's very much like if I'm going out somewhere and I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna be with these people. I'll be back at this time. This is what I'm doing. And like another thing that goes along with the reassurance is we're very big on like telling each other our plans and like what we're doing, just so like the other one knows that, like, just to know what the other one's doing even if we're not responding. That's just communicating. I don't think that's a bad thing. For the reassurance part, if she's ever like a little worried about something or something's been on her mind lately, I can usually like get it out of her to tell me, and I can make sure I reassure her on whatever the issue is, and I have no issue doing that.
Yeah, well, like one of the biggest reasons that people with BPD specifically really like reassurance is because we have a very large fear of abandonment. So whereas like if I wasn't with someone with BPD and like she might literally go get food or something like that, and like she doesn't reply to me for a couple minutes and I don't know where she is, I don't know what she's doing, my brain immediately goes to like, she's abandoning me, she's never gonna talk to me, she's gonna break up with me. Things that people without BPD might not think. One of the biggest things with reassurance is she's learned my triggers, because at the beginning of our relationship we both kind of sucked at reassurance. This was my first serious long-term relationship, and so like she said, like she picks up on when my like mood has shifted a little bit, or maybe when I'm asking like a couple more questions than usual. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll try to like slyly ask questions like, oh, what are you doing?
Not so sly anymore.
Yeah, and now she like picks up on it and she immediately gives me reassurance. But another big thing that she has done is, well, I will try to like beat around the bush and try not to like be upfront about my triggers or something that's upset me. I've learned that it's way better for her and for my sake to just be like, this is what's upsetting me, this is how I feel, this is why I feel it, what are your thoughts? And
what's going on in your head?
Yeah, and so, because sometimes, a lot of times, the reason like I get upset is because she will do something that like, she'll do something completely innocent and I will perceive it in a different way than what she meant it as. And that's why it's so important for me to just be like, hey, you did this is how I perceived it, what did you mean by it, what were your thoughts, why did you do this, stuff like that. And then she tells me, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense then, you're gonna abandon me and never talk to me again.
Leave you on the streets.
Yeah. Right, and so it's just like the little things like that. And then of course random affirmations is really big too. Little commercial break. We got a cat
Mr. Frank.
His name is Francis, but we call him Frank. He's 2, and we got him from a shelter. We were thinking about getting a dog, but we just don't have the funds or the time, and we don't live together, so that would be a little...
We got Mr. Frank.
A little tougher, yeah. So we got Mr. Frank, but he's currently trying to get into the window behind where we're filming, so
yeah,
if you hear any rattles, that's what it is. But anyways, yeah, the like random reassurance is also super helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's really helpful for me, because sometimes, especially when we started figuring out the reassurance aspect of our relationship, I often felt like I only got reassurance when I was asking for it. And as literally anybody on this planet knows, it's not the best feeling. And so I communicated that with her, and I was like, hey, like, this is my love language. This is like how I see and feel affection and stuff like that. Like, these are the things that I look for. And so then she took that, and she now, like, we'll just be laying in bed together watching TikToks, and she'll just put her hand on my thigh. She'll be out somewhere, and she'll just shoot me an I love you text without, like, any prior communication. And that is just really helpful, because she was always showing me that reassurance. She was always showing me that affection, just in ways that I didn't perceive as reassurance, which I think was big.
I was gonna say, it was, at the beginning, it was hard because, like, I was like, I am doing all these things. I'm, like, trying, and then, but we'd still getting these, like, little arguments, and we've, like, slowly started to figure out that, like, there's ways that we can both do it different to help each other out. Kind of, like, learn the ways of each other. On, like, learn how, like, she really appreciates, like, the little things, like she just said. And so that's how I know how I can, like, show her that and, like, give her reassurance. And where in the beginning I was trying to do kind of what I would want. And so it was, like, kind of difficult, but we've definitely figured that out, and we're way better at communicating.
Yeah. Oh, like, another one of the big things that we learned is that, like, love languages are often so talked about. Like, this is your love language, this is how you should, like, treat your partner. But when you have different love languages, you should give your partner their love language. So, like, for example, our love languages are pretty similar, but, one of mine is, like, giving gifts and stuff like that. And so I would often give Olivia, like, gifts, or I would, like, buy her candy randomly at a gas station when I was on my way over and stuff like that. And so at first, like, she didn't see that as reassurance, because her love language is touch and words of affirmation. So that, to her, like, that little piece of candy was really nice and really sweet, but it didn't serve as strong of a reassurance thing as, like, me saying I love you would be, or me, like, giving her a hug and stuff like that.
I love hugs.
Yeah. And another big thing that we learned about that was, we were in a long distance relationship our entire relationship until this past really month.
Yeah, we've been together for almost a year and a half, and since August we've only been an hour away, and that's the shortest distance we've had our whole year and a half relationship. So
we've learned, like, a lot of things about our relationships and ourselves because we were in long distance, which is like you don't typically learn certain things unless you are in long distance. But even though it sucks being in it, like, we learned, and our relationship is so much stronger than it was a year ago. We do plan on doing a long distance video eventually. Oh, yeah. This was just the one that was asked about a little bit. So back to BPD, another thing that is very common in anybody's relationship, but specifically someone with BPD, is jealousy. Jealousy. I'm gonna keep that in, I'm not gonna edit that out. And another aspect, the same thing I said in the beginning, like, it proves a point that we are both jealous, and she doesn't have BPD. Like, it's not just people who have
a mental illness
who get jealous. Like, that's so important.
Let's be real, everyone can be a little jealous.
Right.
Come on now.
And so
we heard Olivia Rodrigo.
I hate you. Yeah, and so jealousy is something that's really tough. I mean, the reassurance and communication is literally, like, the root solution to so many issues that, like, people just don't understand, because either they're communicating in the wrong way, they're not communicating enough, sometimes communicating too much, like, and so it's just learning, and it's not the same for all couples, like, whatsoever. We had to learn what each other wanted to hear when they felt jealous, things like that. And so, like, planning is such a big thing, especially for someone with BPD, when plans change last minute, or when I have a plan and it's not going to happen, something falls through, that is a huge trigger to me specifically. I feel like such a big thing with BPD is time. Because
I've had to learn, we both had to learn, I mean, like, she's still learning things about herself and how to better herself, and I am learning how I can love her and do things to help her and to help me. Because, I mean, like, she's the one with BPD, but I'm also one that's loving someone with BPD. And so, like, we both had to, like, it's just a big learning experience, and, like, yeah, you're gonna have some downs, you're gonna have some arguments, you're gonna have some fights, but, like,
what couple doesn't?
And we've, like, those have almost, like, helped us because we've gotten so much better because of them. We've learned from them. If you don't learn from,
right,
you're never gonna get back up. You're just gonna keep going down, you know?
Yeah. Well, with also, like, arguments are common in every relationship. It's so important to learn how to argue, and, like, when you are arguing, thinking about the main picture. So, like, at first we would just argue about, like, small things, especially, like, in the beginning when I wouldn't express what I really was feeling. I would pick a fight about something so stupid and small, and that didn't get us anywhere. And now, like, when we do have arguments, we're like, okay, I feel this way, how do you feel, what do you want to get out of the situation, what can I do for you, what can you do for me? And we're like, at the end of the day, we're like, we're better now because we had that argument. That's really important. Yeah, a disagreement.
I think arguments and fights, disagreements, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not, I don't know. No, and, like, the one thing that earlier in our relationship was big was, like, are we fighting against each other, or are we fighting for each other, like, for our relationship? And that was something that would, like, really put us in our place sometimes. Because we literally would stop and be like, why are we arguing right now? We're literally just bickering back and forth. We're like, we're not even trying to get to our essential goal right now, and that's to just, like, find that root of the problem and figure it out for us. And, like, that's the big thing too, is just remembering that this is our relationship, me and you, us.
Right.
We're not against each other.
I mean, yeah, those are, like, the big things that we have learned. But as, like, you heard, our issues are very common with neurotypical brains issue. Like, it's not like I'm, like, stabbing her, like, in her sleep or something because I have BPD. Like, they're very normal disagreements. They're very normal problems to have, just maybe a little exemplified, maybe a little, like, more intense in the moment. But other than that, like, I'm a regular
I think
person.
there's this stigma around that, like, people with mental health issues, like, there's, like, all these absurd arguments all the time that's never healthy or normal, or normal, and that's just that's wrong. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs in their relationship. Just because she has BPD doesn't mean that we should, oh my god, we had an argument, we need to break up. Like, it's, you know, I think there's just, like, that stigma around BPD and other mental illnesses that are just not true. One thing that also helps for me is just, like, being patient and remembering, like I said earlier, like, remembering that end goal of just, like, yes, I love her so much, and that I want to be in this relationship. Sometimes it takes a little patience, sometimes it takes a little love, and we get there, and we love each other more every day.
Yeah.
Woo!
So yeah, that was, like, our little, I guess that's just a little insight on, like, how we deal with our relationship with the aspect of having BPD.
I guess if you have any more questions, like specific questions for me or for CJ, comment below.
Babe, that's my line.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, for commenting.
But yes, if you have anything else that you would like to hear from us, another video, questions, both of us are on Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, you can comment down below, as she said. So, sorry, our memory card was full and our battery died, so we need to switch that out. But, yes, if you have any questions or anything else, you can just let us know. Oh yeah, happy Halloween from our family to yours. And yeah, if you want to see Olivia more, just let me know. We can definitely come up with more videos. She's always begging to be in the YouTube videos, so yeah. But yeah, we hope that this was helpful. If this helped literally any of you guys, then that's
the goal.
That was the reason that we wanted to make this video. Usually we would not come on and talk about like BPD in our relationship, because it's like,
I can't believe this is gonna be the first video of me on your page. I'm really funny. Just letting you know. This is kind of serious. I am funny.
Let us know. So we'll see you guys later.
Deuces.